plant peeps, I'm Karine Gordineer, herbalist and plant spirit healer with Green Girl Herbs and Healing, here to introduce you to Allium tricoccum in the Amaryllidaceae or Amaryllis family. You may know this very tasty spring edible as ramps, ramson, or even wild chive is another name that you may have heard them called. As ramps have gotten quite popular over the last 5 or 7 years or so, and they're really very, very tasty. There's a very long history of their use as an edible and as a medicinal plant, and they've been kind of rediscovered in recent years by wild foodists and foragers and even restaurants that feature wild food dishes. It has the flavor profile of a very, very strong leek. In fact, they really are quite pungent and quite tasty. They can be used in dishes for like soups, dips, salads. They can be just braised or fried up just the way that they are. Like I said, they're really quite delicious. They also have medicinal properties very similar to garlic and onions, in that they can help prevent colds and flus and even potentially help to minimize allergy symptoms. They also have tonic properties for the cardiovascular system and may help to lower blood pressure levels, cholesterol levels, and that sort of thing. So they have a number of really good, things about them. A couple of important things to know about ramps. One being identification, as there are some plants that people that are newer to wild food harvesting may confuse this plant with. So as you look at this plant, you could see where you could confuse it with lily of the valley potentially. So I want to, and also possibly I've seen people confuse ramps with American hellebore, which is very, very poisonous. So a couple of tips on identifying ramps. If you look at each individual plant is going to have, you can see here, 2 leaves, and the leaves are coming pretty much right up out of the ground, so you don't really, there's a short petiole, but it's not like an actual stem. So you're going to find 2, occasionally 3 leaves per plant, but most of the time you're going to see 1 or 2 leaves are going to come up. The texture of the leaf almost has kind of like a rubbery texture to it. If you dig one plant out, you'll also notice that it has a bulb, and so that lets you, that's very different from either the veratrum, the American hellebore, or the lily of the valley. Lily of the valley will actually come up on a stem, and the lily of the valley, the leaves are deeply veined. You can see this leaf does have some parallel leaf veins to it, but they're not the very deep veination that you would see in a lily of the valley. Also, the flowers of ramps will come up much later in the season, and the flowers look very different than the lily of the valley flowers. So those are some of the differences. The final difference is if you crush the leaf, you're going to get that very garlic, onion, smell to it. Another really, really important thing to know about ramps is that they are a native plant, and they are becoming, they are kind of, at risk of becoming endangered or not easily found in the wild. As with anything that becomes popular, people will oftentimes not necessarily practice the best wild crafting practices or the most scrupulous practices, and sometimes people will come along and wipe out entire patches. And we really don't want to do that. We want to have the ramps available for future generations, for the different things that they do for the soil and for the earth and all of that. So when you harvest, these are pungent enough that you really don't need to dig out the bulb. So you really can just harvest the upper leaves, and in order to do so in a sustainable manner, what you want to do is you want to just, like harvest one leaf off of this plant, and then maybe another leaf off of that plant, and then maybe pick another leaf over there. So you want to spread your harvesting out. Don't harvest the bulb, and and also when you're harvesting, you want to be aware that you're not crushing any other plants that may be growing in the area, and that sort of thing. So you really want to be respectful with your harvesting. The other thing that you can do too is you can grow your own patch. So you can harvest seeds and that you will find in the fall, and you can harvest. You can grow your own patch, or you can also get seeds from different nurseries that specialize in wild plants. So I hope that you have enjoyed this wild plant video. If you are interested in learning more about the wild plants, be sure to check out greengirlherbs.net, where I have upcoming classes and so on, including plant identification classes and online classes and so on. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. See you soon.